Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. My name is Pioch. I work at ZVEI, the German electronic industry, and we are very happy to present to you now a very interesting keynote on GAIA-X, that most discussed topic on data economy, especially industrial data economy in Europe. Started as a German-French approach, but now tries to become a pretty and fully European project, also reaching out to our friends and partners in Central and Eastern Europe. And therefore, I'm very happy to announce now the keynote of Gerd Hoppe, Corporate Management of Back-Off Automation. He is an ambassador for the Industry 4.0 in GAIA-X in the German hub. And he is also a broad member of the GAIA-X Foundation, which has recently been created. And therefore, I'm very happy. Mr. Hoppe, the floor is yours.
Welcome, and thank you for inviting me to your Time Economic Forum 2021. My name is Gerd Hoppe. I'm working with Back-Off Automation. We are a mid-sized automation company, and I would like to talk to you about GAIA-X, the European Data Space Initiative. I am for Back-Off board member as a founding member for this organization, and I'm also liaison for the Manufacturing Industry 4.0 domain in the European data space. Back-Off in a nutshell. We are a company of 4,300 people. A third of our staff is engineers. We're doing automation. Automation is a very abstract business providing computer, software, electronic interfaces, motion devices, everything necessary to make investment goods work and move. We are a global company with 40 countries covered with own subsidiaries, with about 900 million in sales worldwide, a little bit above $1 billion. Why would we need GAIA-X in the automation industry? Why is Back-Off involved in GAIA-X? We are facing digitalization projects and all the troubles and difficulties in this field in our daily work. Our computer systems, our automation systems have to be connected to cloud systems to provide artificial intelligence and future data space applications to our customers. Our customers are manufacturing companies, investment goods systems around the globe, and you can see that these are surrounded by software tools and software systems which many of you know come from your industry. IT software service companies group around manufacturing. The manufacturing execution systems, MES systems, are tailored towards operating a factory hall or a plant. And inside those facilities, many machines, control systems, sensors, actuators, motors, devices from many different manufacturers are installed, and they all provide and produce data. In order to connect those data, you have to sort out a mesh of data connections, which you can see here depicted as lines on the screen. This illustrative chart gives you an idea that the digitalization projects are by far and large as complicated as the true physical installation is, and the difficulty and barriers to connect data create the delay in picking up digitalization and Industry 4.0 projects in our industry. With all those software modules that we provide for control, which you can see here colored in the middle of the screen, we can truly say that towards the field level, on the lower end of the chart, we have for input-output, here depicted as I/O, a quite good standardization to mainstream connectivity devices. If we look in the upstream digitalization, then we find cloud computing with different various standards We find database connections, on-premise computers, off-premise computers, and myriads of different protocols which are not very standardized. The semantic is not standardized, the connectivity is not standardized, and so we have a lot of difficulties in this world. We can choose one of the major vendors in this field, or our customers can choose that, but with that there is a certain lock-in arising. Very early, the industry, small, medium enterprise sector was involved in GAIA-X. We have provided use cases that highlight and describe the difficulties and the opportunities, the challenges of connecting cloud services to our industry. 3 of them are shown here: collaborative condition monitoring, supply chain collaboration, and smart manufacturing, the automation avatar for machines. In the last one, Beckhoff was involved together with some associations in our field. The larger picture that we're looking at is that many different domains are at the same time looking into creating value-add services from digitalization domains. You can see here the industrial sector, but also health, mobility, financial, green, energy, agriculture, and artificial skills, so the machine intelligence, artificial intelligence domain. The idea for all is to create value from data, drive technology, and build a base towards improving their operational excellence. These are the targets for such a data ecosystem. Data is something that is the fuel for the future world. You can see that the data value will grow by the factor of 2.7 from 2019 to 2025. These numbers are estimated and published by the European Union and the German Ministry of Economy. The data volume will at the same time grow by the factor of 5 in zettabytes, from 33 zettabytes to about 175 zettabytes. But interesting is that the data value calculated per million citizen differentiates between Europe and US in the factor of 1 to 5.2, above 5. So the US economy hosts 5 times more data per million citizen compared to Europe. One of the reasons is that many European companies and individuals are hosting their data on US servers, clearly. In analyzing the needs of our customers, our domains, in all those different domains that I have mentioned to you, not only in the manufacturing domain, we found that users face the same challenges. There has been a requirements engineering effort in many different domains with many different users, about 500 companies coming together by now. And we found that we have common and cross-domain requirements which are all the same, and they describe the challenges and the difficulties for all those users. Additional requirements may build from the fact that combining those digitalization efforts across domains will create new capabilities and new services that aren't even on the horizon today. And so the idea was to develop GAIA-X as a shared solution to overcome the hurdles and difficulties of digitalization, not only in the industrial domain, but also in all these other domains that I have mentioned for a short moment. These cross-domain requirements ended up in providing GAIA-X as an enabler for all those domains that you see here listed. These are not the only ones talking about digitalization, but these sectors: energy, finance, agriculture, health, industry, mobility, the public sector, and smart living are the ones which are highlighted as keen for digitalization by the European Commission. So they are enlisted in the digital strategy of Europe. For all of those, we have and see a need for an identity management so that you know which partners and which entities are connected to a data space. We are looking for a trusted relationship management so that the identity is trusted. we see very importantly that data should be kept in a custodian principle. The European values consider relationships between customers and suppliers as very important and private, and do not believe that the experience that we all make by our private life being the product of our suppliers in the hyperscaler domain or in the smartphone domain is a good business principle between Europeans in the business and in the private world. We think that with this basis and a set of European values, algorithms for data monetization can be placed in a fair way, and this would create a way for users to have better control of their data. With that together comes a choice for the selection of geography and legislation. So where is my data and under which legislation am I processing? And this also gives users a better control about access to the data and exploitation of data. This led short of a long to this idea and this architecture. GAIA-X is targeted to provide a user-friendly and very homogeneous data space ecosystem. It's not a data space in itself. It offers room for future data spaces. In order to provide the necessary framework, the idea is to create for all, in a standardized way, a platform to manage identity and trust, provide policies for a sovereign data exchange, as I've just explained, provide a catalog and a framework for compliance, such as user roles, provider roles, and standardized data exchange contracts so that the entire legal side is covered, and list all participants in a federated catalog with a compliance management so that you can identify GAIA-X compliant offerings from non-GAIA-X compliant offerings. In this data space ecosystem, on the lower end, you have these infrastructure providers, such as the big telecom industries, those who provide server systems, data space systems. And on top, in the blue sector of this X, you can see the different industries building their data spaces and building services like artificial intelligence, IoT systems, analytics, automation, and others for their domains. The idea is that GAIA-X provides a space, an ecosystem in which data spaces for companies are easier to create, and the infrastructure companies who are providing the building blocks have an easier access to their clients. You can see in this slide that the green layer of exchanging data and services in a standardized way will enable in many different domains an easier connection from customers to suppliers, from suppliers to their customers. So the idea of GAIA-X is to build these federation services. You can see that these federation services shall connect and govern future data providers and users with a standardized architecture and a set of policies, with a common identity and trust, with the principle of data sovereignty between data owners and data processing companies, and a federated catalog to identify market companions. These are the objectives that are up for the GAIA-X association to provide for those capabilities. So the idea is to create a standard and provide fundamental services to access the catalog and to declare compatibility or compliance to those fundamental services. This will enable software communities to build on that and give them an easier access and exchange of data. and that will facilitate data space creation. Participating at this moment are many participants, as I have declared, from industrial, from health, from mobility, from financial, from the public sector, from agriculture, smart living and energy, and many others are joining at this moment. The membership count for the association that has been built is now above 200, strongly growing, and I will talk a little bit about the participation in Europe in a moment. In the different geographies, user hubs will build, which bundle the user interest in the different domains. Example given in the financial sector or in the manufacturing domain sector or in the health sector. And they interact with the GAIA-X association to forward their requirements to connect best to their industry. At this moment, we have a lot of countries already operating towards the constitution of their national hubs for user participation. And beyond this slide, we have interest from a lot of countries inside Europe. You can see that we already have quite a participation beyond the founding members, France and Germany. The federation services will be built by the GAIA-X Foundation only in a reference implementation. This reference implementation is intended to be created in open source so that it can be connected and used as a reference for own implementations by the service providers and by the connected users in a best and trustful way. This will include the access management and trust management, a federated catalog and an API to access that, policies and rules for data sovereignty and compliance, and a portal and integration to actually use and access those services. At this moment, we are working in work packages and have a few front-runner projects that are validating the functioning of these federated services. As an outlook, we can see that during 2020 and the third and fourth quarter, we believe that we can build the framework and the functions that I just described between consumers and providers entities. And we expect that by 2022, we will have a first beta software available to the market. Thank you very much. This is what I can give you as an overview to GAIA-X at this moment. And I'm hoping you enjoy this presentation. I'm open to take your questions at this point. Thank you.
Mr. Hoppe, thank you very much for your presentation. Very good insights into the early stages of GAIA-X and on the first ideas. GAIA-X is becoming truly a wholly European event, and we are here now in an economic forum in Poland. Therefore, I would like to ask you a short question to follow up on your discussion. So what would you recommend, for example, Polish industry, how they can participate in GAIA-X, and also the idea of national hubs to combine and work together inside of GAIA-X? What would be first steps Polish industry has to do to set this up?
I think it would be nice if Poland would come and join the club of GAIA-X countries and regions. And I think there's two things to do. If a company or an entity is interested in directly working on definition of the standard and interaction with the key stakeholders, then membership in the GAIA-X association is a good idea. If, as a user, the only interest is to connect to the service without ever engaging in the standard building, then founding of a national hub in Poland to connect to the group of other hubs would be perfect and a good step to move forward.
Okay, great. Great message also to our friends in Poland. So we also, if you need assistance, they can probably contact you, Mr. Hoppe.
Yes.
But now, thinking ahead, GAIA-X has an ambitious timeline, and you already mentioned this, until the summer. And in the summer, there will be also the first General Assembly. And at the same time, also member states and industry are preparing investment projects to build infrastructure in the coming years. What are, in your opinion, the necessary next steps in the coming months for industry, also for member states, to make GAIA-X really a success story across Europe?
I think we have to be realistic and schedule. The GAIA-X Association expects to have a alpha and beta implementation as a reference implementation for the federated services by the end of this year. I think it would be good for users and those groups who are intending to build a data space for their audience to consider strongly to move that towards GAIA-X. The advantages are significant because today every data space creates a certain lock-in, and in many instances these data spaces and the user communities end up in signing on with a few of the hyperscalers that are providing today's data spaces. By the way, all these hyperscalers are actively engaging in becoming GAIA-X members, so you can meet those worldwide active companies again in GAIA-X. But in the future, the entire connectivity, trust management, identity management, monetarization mechanics will be provided by GAIA, and the interest is to have a truly user-centric, data custodian principle-based ecosystem available that one can thrive on, and that makes building your own data space much easier.
Great. With that, thank you. We think as ZVEI, as the German electronic industry, GAIA-X really has been kicked up as a German-French approach, but now really is ready to become a truly European project. And we would be very happy to make it a great success story so that we in Europe can show, especially in the industrial domain, that also data economy here is trusted, is secure. And we invite everybody to join us. And therefore, Mr. Hoppe, thank you very much for your insights. And thank you.